turn our attention to camogie. We're joined on the line by Brian Dowling, who has just recently departed as the Kilkenny senior camogie manager. Morning, Brian. How are things?
Morning, lads. How you doing?
Keeping well. Thanks a million for hopping on. This was a tough decision, I'd imagine, after 5 years.
Yeah, it was a tough decision. I suppose I kind of decided to start the year that I'd give it one more year, and whatever happened, won or lost, that I step away. But look, I suppose it was still a very tough decision there to fully confirm it on Tuesday. It wasn't easy, and it's been a strange week since, to be honest.
When you look at the honours you've had as a manager, like so many titles, so much silverware, so many happy days to look back on. I'm sure there's disappointment after the 1 point defeat to Cork last weekend, but a lot of really, really happy days with this Kilkenny side.
Yeah, there's a lot of happy days, but I suppose this week has been, I'm probably thinking about the days that you left behind and the matches that we lost and stuff like that. And obviously, it's still very raw that after losing the All-Ireland quarter-final by a point on Sunday, so that's probably what's hurting the most at the moment. But look, I suppose in time we'll look back and we were there as management group for 4 years and won 2 All-Ireland. So I suppose he offered me that and I went in, I would definitely took it. So look, we've huge memories there, and memories that will live for the rest of our lives.
Brian, I know I spoke to you after the game and you told me about the story of coming in the first place, that it wasn't really on your mind to come in, and you said no initially and then you decided no actually, and you rang Anne back and said I'll come in.
Yeah, I suppose Anne caught me on the hop. She asked me to come involved as a coach in 2019, and I think the phone call lasted about 45 seconds. I said no to Anne. Just wasn't on my radar. I didn't know anything about camogie, to be honest. But I'd watched the games, and I seen the girls losing the finals in 17 and 18, and I don't know, something was just telling me that I had to give it a go, and I rang Anne back, and thankfully it was the option was still there, and I went in 2019, and unfortunately didn't get over the line that year. We lost 3 All-Ireland finals in a row. I suppose I'll never forget going back to the Red Cow Hotel that evening, and everyone was just crying. Parents, players was like, these will never get over the line here. And then Anne was after stepping away that day as well. So look, the opportunity came then to take it on as manager, and I suppose I couldn't walk away at that stage, and I just decided to go back in as manager, and thankfully things worked out well in 2020 then.
Yeah, you said you didn't know much about camogie, so that was the first time managing a women's team. What was that like?
Yeah, it was. I was never involved before. I was after doing a lot of underage coaching in my own club and in school teams and stuff like that, and I had been with Thomastown intermediate hurling team, so look, it was completely different, and I think it takes you a bit of time to adjust. It's different type of management, different way of dealing with players and stuff like that, but look, I have to say I've absolutely loved it. I've lived the dream the last 5 years being involved with this group. They're really special. The effort that they put in has just been unbelievable, and thankfully they got the rewards, because they didn't get them in 17, 18 and 19, and I suppose it was looking like they were never going to get there, and it was just when that final whistle went in 2020, I suppose everything was worthwhile, and it was just huge relief. That
must have been such a strange one, Brian, as well. That was the COVID All-Ireland in 2020, and nothing was as per normal. Like, you must think back, and it almost must feel like a dream, the whole thing, because it was strange, but what an achievement at the same time. Yeah, it was really surreal. But looking back, I probably think it was a good thing for us that the final was really low key. We always go to DCU there in Drumcondra, and I remember driving down. We were going to get a guard escort, but we did get a guard escort, and I don't know why, because there was absolutely nobody on the streets. The only person we saw walking in was Anne Downey. She was waving at the bus like a lunatic, and it was just so weird. And we went out on the pitch for a walk around, and I remember saying to the players, what's to be nervous about here? This is like playing a challenge match at home. There's nobody at it. It was really weird. You could hear every sound in Croke Park that evening, and I just think it took the pressure off us, because there was huge pressure on that final. I don't know where this team would have ended up. I think it could have been the end of a lot of players if we lost that final. To lose 4 All-Irelands in a row, I just don't see how we could have come back from it. It just, I think it would have been too much. So it was a strange one. I know obviously we didn't want COVID at the time, and it was strange with training. You're watching yourself all the time. You're dreading every phone call from the doctor, where you're going to be having players pulling out and stuff like that. But luckily we got over the line, and it was brilliant. You must have been thinking, Brian, Jesus, this management crack is handy. Debut season, All Ireland, O'Duffy Cup in hand, not a bad start. No, it wasn't a bad start, but I definitely didn't think it was handy. Look, again, we played well in the final against Galway, but Galway are a super team. We'd have great battles with them over the last number of years, and it was just more relief. That final was all about relief and just getting the job done and getting over the line. And look, it was probably an anticlimax after it. We had to leave the cup in Croke Park that night.
We had a couple of drinks that day on the way back from the bus that night. I think we got back to Kilkenny at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and then the next day I remember just meeting up the management group for something to eat and about 3 or 4 pints, and that was it. That was the end of the celebrations because of COVID. So it was a really strange one. But look, I said we have great memories as well.
Just on your management team and the background team, tell us a little bit about them. Like, there's a lot of All-Ireland medals in there. You have Tommy Shefflin as well is in there, Henry's brother. So you have a really strong background team.
Yeah, look, she's a long have you got. I always say to the lads that the girls are easy to manage. It's the management team is my tough work. No, look, I was absolutely blessed to get such experience. I suppose I was a relatively young manager going into an inter-county job, so the one thing I wanted was to get plenty of experience around me. And Ray Chandler was with me in 2019, so he politely raced it on with us as well. And then got Tommy in as the main coach. And look, Tommy's huge experience in Kilkenny. He's been with Ballyhale, he's been in Carrickshock, and his record speaks for itself. He's great energy, great drive, and he's an absolutely fantastic coach. And I got Pat O'Neill and Philly Larkin, who both played for Kilkenny as well. Pat would have came in late in 2020, and Philly came in straight away as well. So, there's a huge experience, and then Seamus Kelly came on board this year. So, look, I had a brilliant backroom team. I was the youngest of the backroom team, which is strange for a manager, but it was great to have that experience. And I suppose it kind of took the pressure off me in a way that I knew that, I had that experience beside me, and that helped a lot for me.
I know you've been saying as well, Brian, that you've been thinking about walking away the last maybe year or two, but the homecoming you got after the All-Ireland last year maybe convinced you to stay on?
Yeah, I suppose last year, I don't know, in sports you kind of want to walk away when at the highest moment, and but I suppose I just couldn't walk away last year. I just felt it was too good. So I mentioned a few times the homecoming was really special. The crowd that we had out that night on that Monday evening was unbelievable, and just felt the support from Kilkenny people was great. So I just probably changed my mind and decided to go back. And look, I'm delighted I went back. I know we didn't win the All-Ireland this year, but I think if I didn't go back last year, I'd have regrets the rest of my life, wondering, would we have done it again? And I suppose, look, back to back was always there. It hasn't been done in Kilkenny since 1991. So, but unfortunately, look, we didn't do it this year, and that's disappointing. But look, in time, I know that we'll think of the good memories.
Yeah, I know you said that you had reservations about taking the job. Do you feel that you've got more out of it than you ever thought you would?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Got so much out of it. I'm going to really miss it. Just even going training and just connecting with the players. We had a great bond between management and players, and look, that's probably one of the main reasons as well that kind of step away now is things are good. Even though we didn't win, but still a special bond with the players. And I think the longer you stay there, I suppose maybe things start to drift away and stuff like that, and maybe relationships start getting broken down. So look, I want to kind of leave maybe when things are positive, and and hopefully leave Kilkenny Camogie in a good place.
It's I guess it's emotional leaving a job like this, Brian, because it's not just the results or whatever, but it's the relationship you have with the players, like the dressing room moments. As Aisling said, it was your first time taking a camogie team, but I'm sure you've built up a rapport with the girls in this team that you'll never forget.
No, look, it was extremely tough. I probably wasn't going to do it this week. I just woke up Tuesday morning and it was in my head, and I decided I was going to go. So I probably said, why put it off any longer? But I think I spent about 45 minutes. I had the WhatsApp message written out for group, and I couldn't press send. I knew once that was sent, that was it. There was no going back. And look, you're getting messages from the girls there during the week, and it's really nice to get them, but it's hard to read them at times as well, because you just know it's all over now and stuff like that. So look, I think it's the right decision to move on. I said I probably didn't think I was going to be here for 5 years. It's a long part of anybody's life, but look, I don't regret anything. I have great memories for life. My family have great memories as well, so I'm just very grateful that Kilkenny Camogie gave me the chance to look after this brilliant team.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we talked about as well, Brian, is the tragedy that has gone on in Kilkenny, and sport really can help in those times, and you spoke about that as well, how you were really all there for each other throughout that.
Yeah, look, last year was really, really strange, I suppose. On the field, things weren't going great, and off the field, we had tragedies. Obviously, Tommy's brother Paul passed away suddenly. My own uncle passed away in a house fire just before that as well, and a couple of girls lost their grandparents. It all just seemed to happen in the space of 6 weeks. But look, I know we had the two Dial sisters were after doing a cruise ships in that time as well, so it just seemed to be everything was going wrong, but we just, the girls started fighting, and we backed each other, and we just galvanised around each other, and we drove it on. I suppose it made it really special last year when we won the All-Ireland. All them people were in our thoughts when we won, and it wasn't easy during the year, but definitely Camogie definitely helped us through those tough times.
A lot has been made this year, Brian, about the LGFA and Camogie Association and the protests and calls for a player charter and I guess equality with the male players, and we've seen the protests before matches in both the camogie and the ladies football. Has this been an issue that's kind of permeated into your dressing room across the year, because it's clearly an issue that needs addressing?
Yeah, look, I suppose it's not really a huge issue from Kilkenny side of view. I must say we're extremely well looked after in Kilkenny. Our county board is super, led by Teresa Aylward. Everything the girls get, or everything we look for, we get it within reason. We have strength and conditioning coaches there, the boys from Bravo Fitness. The girls have access to 3 gyms. Springhead Court Hotel, TJ Reid came on board this year as well, offering his services to the gym and Bravo Fitness gym as well. We have dietitians, we have physiotherapists. We get food after every training, food before and after matches. So we're extremely well looked after. So the big thing for me is the mileage expenses. We'd have a lot of people, 7 or 8 girls there during the year travelling down from Dublin, and I think they get about €800 at the end of the year, and that's it. Our county board do try and help out, but the money just isn't there for that. So that's a big thing that probably has to change. That the mileage expenses, where the money's going to come from, I don't know. Matthew Toomey said it, I think to yourself, Ashton, there after the match on Sunday, that it's about supporters coming into the matches. I've said that for a while as well. I 100% agree. How many people are at the match on Sunday, especially females, and we actually went into the camogie match from Kilkenny. There's no point having to go on social media at this. People have to go to matches. That's where the revenue will start, and if people go to matches, to be more revenue there to give to the girls, I suppose, for expenses. So that's something that would love to see change. And that we play a championship match there in All-Ireland semi-final, you might have 2,000 or 3,000 at it. That's it. So I really think we need to try work on getting more people into camogie matches.
It's about respect for the players, isn't it, too, Brian? Like, you talk about the mileage expenses, the dual player also, like, it's a dying art form, the dual player, but it still exists, and clearly even the likes of Kelly Comfort on your own panel, like, I think she's spoken before about how it's almost impossible now to be a dual player, because even at club level, she remember her talking about playing maybe a club quarter-final in hurling or camogie at say 11 a.m. and then a football match at 5 p.m. the same day. It's just impossible. Like, these players aren't respected.
Yeah, no, look, so we don't have to deal with dual stars too much in Kilkenny. Luckily enough, it's one of the issues not on the top of my list. But look, I see what's happening in Cork there, and it's disappointing to see, your players who are putting in such a huge effort, the likes of Hannah Looney and Orla Catalan, Libby Coppinger, super players, camogie players and ladies footballers, and they have to choose which match to go to. I don't know how you'd manage that. To be really, really difficult. And look, I suppose it's something that has to change. Look, whether this merger is going to happen or the associations are going to come together, I don't know. Hopefully it'll happen sooner rather than later.
And Brian, what are you going to do now with all your free time?
I've under sevens, my 2 boys are under sevens there at Danesford, so that's going to take my focus now for the next couple of weeks. No, look, I don't know. My time is finished in camogie anyway for now. I'm definitely looking to get back into the hurling side of things. I think I've managed the best team I can, the Kilkenny camogie team, so I don't see myself going anywhere else in camogie, in the camogie world. So look, definitely looking back to get back into hurling if anything comes up. I suppose I have to decide whether I'd like to get into management or get back into the coaching. I love the hands-on approach of the coaching sessions, getting involved in coaching. So look, I'll see what comes around. I'm not going to make any hasty decisions. There's nothing there, and I'll stick with the under sevens maybe for another year if that happens. Well,
if you're anything like Tommy Walsh, he was saying to me the last day that his under 11s, he is so nervous, and he means it. Like, I've seen him during games that he's on the phone checking in on scores. It means a lot to him.
Yeah, looking great friends with Tommy. Tommy's absolutely mad. He's driving on Tullaroan underage there. The lads absolutely love him out there. He's unreal. So we'll have to try get a challenge match against Tommy there, and we'll come up on the line. Yeah, he's nuts on the sideline there as well with them young guys, but he's absolutely brilliant, and what a great role model for young lads in Tullaroan to be looking up to than Tommy Walsh.
Was he always like that?
Yeah, almost like that. Yeah, he's cracked. But just obviously one of the best hurlers of all time. Would have grew up with him, went to school and stuff like that. But like if you marked him in training there in St. Kieran's College, and he'd, you might just have a chat, you'd say something to him, he'd look, I'll talk to you after training, not talking to you now, and then he'd absolutely take the head off you in a training match, and then be best friends with you after. He was just, if it was a training match or an All-Ireland final, Tommy treated the exact same way. He just wanted to win it, and that was it, and that's what made him as good as he was.
There's only certain players or people that can do that. They can get away with that. Yeah. That can be like that on a pitch, and then straight after the whistle goes, be your best mate again.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I remember we played him in a Fitzgibbon League final. I was in WIT and he was in UCC, and we were talking that morning about staying down for a few pints afterwards or whatever. And I remember I came on as a sub same day. Henry Shefflin and Southampton Alpine were on our team with a brilliant team, and came on Tommy, and I just said, no, kind of half smirked at him, just 65 or something. Henry was standing over, and he kind of looked at me and was like, I'll talk to you after the match, don't be talking to me now. So I was so thick with him then. I actually got 2 pints off him, scored a winning pint off him, so it was one of my claim to fame, score a pint off of Tommy.
Yes, Brian.
Not a bad achievement. Listen, Brian, thanks a million, and congrats on all the achievements you've had with the Kilkenny camogie team over the last 5 or so years, and listen, best of luck with the underage, the under 7s next few weeks.
All right. Thanks for having me, lads. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Great stuff. Brian Dowling there, the outgoing Kilkenny camogie senior manager.